Hey everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I have with me co-founder and CTO of Moving Analytics, Shuo Qiao. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Cool, and today's topic is how to grow as a healthcare startup. And this would be an important topic in general because the pandemic has kind of caused a spike in healthcare and everybody's been jumping into the healthcare space. So let me just ask you a general question. What did you see happen in terms of healthcare startups and or the healthcare industry pre-pandemic and then post-pandemic? What was like the take home that you found?
I think the biggest change between pre-pandemic and after pandemic is there's more and more resources putting over to telehealth. And in terms of there's more startup in this field, there's more effort from a provider and the payer side. They want to put more emphasis on telehealth. I mean, the reason is obvious, right? So pre-pandemic, there's so many different services being offered in-house. You know, people, still more, feel comfortable to go to the hospital, different facilities. But with pandemic, it just so much limited with resources. Even you go to the hospital, it just too packed with COVID patients, and you won't find, a good time slot, things like that. So
That was a big problem, right? People were afraid to go to the hospital because they thought they would catch the virus at the
exactly.
hospital. So
So from the patient side, they have demand to, ask for, telehealth offering for different services. And from the provider side, they also actually, packed. They are like under super pressure in their hospital setting facility that so many COVID patients that they cannot handle. So not alone like new patients for other disease. So, they are also, thinking about how to reduce the workload by offering some kind of non-COVID related services by doing telehealth. So it just, I guess is becoming, it was a trend actually before pandemic, but with pandemic, it's definitely pushing it forward
So you
to
so
a
so
faster rate.
you mentioned telehealth a lot, basically video chats or phone calls. What kind of changes did you see happen in that space? Did it grow? I mean, obviously it grew a ton, but were there like growing pains associated with that, or like what was like the biggest advantage to doing telehealth?
I think the advantage of doing telehealth is obvious, right? It make everyone's life easier by saving commute time for the patient. For example, in our industry, which is cardiac rehabilitation, like traditionally, patient have to go to the rehab center three times a week.
Oof,
Basically their work days. They have to
that's a
schedule
lot.
that. Yeah, and the rehab center usually not like a lot. You basically the rehab center you can find probably like 30 miles away, and you have to drive a long way to go there, and three times a week. That's you
Jesus.
know such
But
a hard problem to solve.
but
And
but
yeah, and
but but on the other side, like let's say I have an issue with a part of my body or something that hurts, and I can't physically show it to the doctor in person, and I have to do it through a video camera, and maybe he can't see it or touch it to diagnose it properly. Is there something that can be done about that with telehealth? I mean, is there, or is that more you have to come in for that kind of thing?
I think with telehealth, at least with the video chat, you can have a preliminary exam kind of
Preliminary.
over the video, and if the doctor feel actually the condition is serious, they will recommend you to
Come
come
in.
over to
Got it.
the hospital. But most of the case is when people feel they're not comfortable, it's a minor case. So they don't necessarily have to go to the hospital. And in that case, it's definitely a great, use case for telehealth setting.
Yeah.
And I think another big change, like as I said, there's a telehealth before and there's a telehealth after pandemic. Another shift is on the payer side, insurance company side. Like at the beginning, they are a little bit skeptical on the effectiveness of telehealth But although there's a lot of evidence around, even for us, is home-based cardiac rehabilitation. But with pandemic, I think the insurance company and different payers just start thinking more and try to understand, the benefit, and they also do their own research and really agree on the effectiveness on telehealth on different diseases, which is
Interesting.
really great.
And where did your healthcare start up? Like, how was it born? Was it born out of a need that you found in the market for healthcare, or was it just you saw something that wasn't being done before, or you were trying to enhance healthcare marketplace? Like, what where was the catalyst moment where you realized you had a startup idea?
I think at beginning, actually we are not planning to be a healthcare startup. We were building out activity tracking kind of mobile app on the App Store.
Activity
So that
tracking, so for like
basically,
like
you how
fitness.
long you ran, how long how many steps
So
you
fitness, yeah.
you walk today. Like if you sit too long, we'll give you a nudge on the phone
Right,
that,
right,
hey,
right.
you sit too long, just stand up, do
Get
some
up. You're
exercise.
being lazy.
Exactly. That's what we do. It's a good idea that also, but at that time we are a little bit late to the market. At that
Yeah.
time, there's so many activity tracking
So
app
many.
out there, so many, and we found it probably not a little bit late and may not be a good solution in the long run for us. And we just did more research. We went to different conferences, and one of these healthcare conference, we met a cardiologist, and basically she just bring up this idea. Hey, you guys are doing activity tracking app. Why don't you just pivot a little bit, just get into healthcare domain? Like if you can help the patients do more exercise with the guidance, and basically that help the patients become healthier and be able to recover better, things like that. There's a huge benefit, and she said there's tons of evidence already out there, but just like really few company are actually getting into that field and getting implemented in on a mobile and like telehealth setting. And just that, basically that idea just ignite the our journey, basically, like to start that to start to do more research on that field, and eventually get on this track.
Interesting.
And we actually shocked when we do the after we heard that idea and do some initial research. Actually, we reach out to the Stanford cardiac rehabilitation program, and one of the manager called Nancy. She basically taught us, what the way she did the research. Like, by the way, they did the research for 20 years. They
Wow.
basically do the research
That's a
of
long
cardiac
time.
rehabilitation in home setting. The result amazing. It's similar result, like benefit of doing rehabilitation in the facility versus at home. And but the way they do it, basically they mail letter they mail the letters to the patients to their home, and the patients basically get the letter and fill their information and mail the letter back. And they also make phone calls, all the stuff,
Oh
which
wow,
is really
such
really
a
old
slow
fashioned way.
process. Yeah, it's a slow
Yeah.
process. But
And
so
I was
let's
like, hey, we can build a mobile app for this. And
let's unpack some of this, because
yeah,
you just given me a ton of information. I mean, the first thing you mentioned that goes all the way back to the beginning of what you said is that you pivoted.
yeah,
You had a startup doing exercise and tracking your activity, but you decided to pivot to more rehabilitation, and a cardiologist told you, hey, you should be tracking more health related stuff. Now, once you did that, then you went into research mode, and research mode is a whole nother level of startups where people don't usually do a lot of research. They're usually just jumping in head first, start the company and just go. You didn't do that. You pivoted first, then you researched, then you realized, well, okay, now we have something here. But then you mentioned between the 20-year, trials and all the different people you're talking to, now you're going into the healthcare space. Now that brings a whole new level of cybersecurity, HIPAA violation laws, and things like that. So how did you get past the cybersecurity and or the HIPAA compliance that you have to adapt to integrate all that into your mobile app?
Yeah, that's actually a benefit of modern technology. If you ask me to do the same thing that what we are doing 10 years ago, it's gonna be super hard and probably, with really few people, I don't think we can do it
Why
with
is that? Well,
bypass the
what's the
security.
difference? What's the difference
So
between
what's
10
the
years
yeah,
ago?
that's the
Yeah, let me.
amazing part of if you want to, everyone like the listeners or the audience want to do a health startup. The benefit now actually is great that there's a lot of cloud infrastructure we can use that already security certified that we like if you build a app, if you build, for example, on top of Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud, they a lot of services they provide are already HIPAA compliant,
Hmm.
and all the security settings certificates
So
as you need it's already there.
so it's like third party software, third party plugins, and
Exactly. You can basically just collaborate them, and the workload of us to have to do to achieve HIPAA compliance, security certificate is way lower if we do it in house by ourselves.
right.
So that's the another reason that we have the guts to get into healthcare. Although that's something like pretty totally new for us.
Yeah, you
But
had some
yeah,
pretty heavy lifters doing a lot
yeah,
of the hard work for you.
exactly.
That's that's a good point. So 10 years ago you had to do all that yourself?
I think it's already almost 10 years, but like when we started, which is 2014, 15, that year, like we started getting to healthcare. That's like 7, 8 years ago. When we started, there's emerging. That's the emerging time of cloud computing. Actually, at that time, there's a lot of heavy lifting. As I said, it's already there. So we just basically
Just jumped on.
job done basically. If
That's
you ask me
fantastic.
to do that even earlier, another 7 years earlier, like 14 years earlier, that's probably too hard because there's no cloud infrastructure out there. Yeah.
So, like, healthcare is a really broad topic. It's a very big industry. It's worldwide. It's in every city, every country. What motivated you to do this particular idea? Like, what was your motivation behind it?
I think for me, for me is I study engineering, when I was in school, and there's always the drive I have is like basically the driver I have is like I want to leverage the things that I learned to help more people. Uh, you know, and by doing a healthcare startup, I think it actually go beyond that goal. Basically, just make me even more satisfied in the sense of not only the thing that I built up, like the server, the app, a lot of care managers, and patients are using that and get more healthier, and it all like a lot of people are using it, and second is basically it literally saving people's life. So there's
That's some good motivation right there.
yeah, exactly, like the research done by AHA, American Heart Association. So like it shows if patients down cardiac rehabilitation after discharge compared to the patients that don't do cardiac rehabilitation after discharge, actually they can double their chance of living for 5 more years.
Wow.
That's five more birthday with your with their granddaughter and grandson. So
So speaking of that
yeah,
statistic that you just gave me, double their chances. I'm assuming since your name is Moving Analytics, that you are providing analytics and statistics for the rehabilitation. So tell me a little bit about how that was your central piece to your startup.
for sure. I think we call it moving analytics. So basically, we have a whole kind of a guidance program in our app to help the patients know what to do, and they just follow the guidance, including tracking their blood pressure, weight, and doing exercise based on the guidance. And also there's a smoking cessation, kind of chapter. There's nutrition knowledge, kind of guidance on there, and also there's pressure management. Kind of a lot of people get stressed when they get heart attack, of course, and we basically have the program to help to reduce the stress. And all those all together, not only they follow the guidance, but also we provide analytics and the tracking data for them to know where are they in the recovery phase, and help them to basically gain more confidence that, hey, you are recovering and you're making progress, and let's keep it doing and finish the program. You are gonna have better chance to live longer for sure. Yeah.
What a
That's
great what a
yeah.
great way to help the world, man. So this is fantastic. Thanks for coming to the show, man. This is something that I think is really exciting. I mean, I've never heard of this type of startup where you're providing like live analytics, real-time analytics to help you survive and like live longer. It's pretty cool. So anybody out there who's interested, check out movinganalytics.com. Thanks again, Shuo. I appreciate you coming. And as
Thank you,
always,
Jason.
we'll see you guys in the next episode.